Welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Bishop Thompson, and we have a great show for you today. My guest today is a motivational speaker. He's a social activist. He's the founder of Brothers from the Six. I have Jeff Martin with me. Good to see you again, man.
Oh, great to see you, Bishop. Yeah. This is amazing. Thank you for this opportunity. This is fantastic.
Good. I've known you for some time now.
Yes, we do go back. Absolutely, for sure.
But I love to see what you're doing in the community.
Oh, man. Thank you.
And before we jump in and talk about Brothers from the Six, share with our viewers your life journey.
Absolutely. So I have grown up in church, just loving God and having wonderful parents who have shown me the way. Growing up, it wasn't always easy. I grew up in a neighborhood called Rexdale within Toronto. Yes. Yeah. And Rexdale, you know, as much as there's love in that neighborhood, there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of negativity as well. And so although I never really did get caught up in a lot of that, it definitely had its influence on my life. And so we had times in our family where we had some tough times financially, where we, were really tested in a lot of situations. But when it was all said and done, that's what drove me to just continue to go forward in some of the things I'm doing now. In 2005 was probably the biggest hit that I had. In 2005, I had a cousin who was murdered in the streets of Toronto, Omar McLeod. And it was a real struggle for me because, again, coming from a neighborhood where I learned about revenge, that really weighed on my heart. And I was able to ultimately, there's a lot of struggle, internal struggle, but I was able to use, that energy and turn it into something great. And so rather than looking for revenge, I'm able to turn it around and say, how can I help families that are out there, young men who are out there? Maybe I can prevent the next one. Maybe I can step in and through words or through some of the things I'm trying to do, prevent the next shooting, perhaps prevent the next child from dropping out of school, the next teenage pregnancy. There's a lot of issues we have in our neighborhoods, and through words, words can travel so far. And so I'm hoping to do that with everything that I've committed to do in terms of motivational speaking and some of the things I've branched out in regards to motivational speaking. I'm just really hoping just to improve lives of people around me.
Well, man, I'm excited to see this movement you started, this organization called Brothers from the Six. But how did that develop? Why Brothers from the Six?
Brothers from the Six, I was sitting on the couch one day and I said to my wife, I feel like I need to start something. And so initially it started out as a social media movement where I was profiling Black men in the city of Toronto who are doing great things. Because it's so unfortunate. What you see on the news, it doesn't portray who we are. Oftentimes a news story will open up with something negative about Black men. That's not who we are, as a demographic. And so I thought it was so important to start putting out positive imagery of what's going on in our city so people can see like these guys are out there doing work, but they're not getting the credit for it. And they're not looking for credit, but it's important for people to know that we have some upstanding men, some mentors within our city. And so it started out as a social media movement. I had a conversation with some friends of mine and we said, we really should turn this into a nonprofit organization. So the Brothers from the Six, that started out as a social media movement to profile brothers in Toronto, the Six, the nickname of Toronto, doing great work to six brothers coming together and doing great work in the city. And that's what it's spawned into now, where it's a nonprofit organization where we're trying to do some great stuff out there. We're trying to impact some lives.
Very good. What are you hoping that Brothers from the Six will achieve? In the long run, what are you trying to achieve?
You know, in everything that I do, whether it be personal things that I'm working on, or whether it be through Brothers from the Six, or anything in the future, everything I'm trying to do is to give people hope. I want people to understand that despite the fact that they're coming from a tough circumstance, they're able to stand up in it. They're able to change their circumstance. And just the mere fact that there's people who have come from tough neighborhoods who are doing great work in our communities, whether it be politicians, whether it be lawyers, whether it be super entrepreneurs, millionaires. There's people who've come from these tough neighborhoods who are striving and doing great. And if one person has done it before you, then you can do it too. And I want these kids to know that there's hope. Even though you go out, you open your door and you might see drug dealing and just, you know, whatever negativity comes with those neighborhoods, you're able, despite all that, you were able to overcome. And everything that I do, whether it be personal, going out and speaking, or whether it be through Brothers from the Six, that's my ultimate goal, is to allow people to know that they are able to make it through.
Okay. Well, right after this break, we'd like to continue this conversation.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny, you hear celebrities talk about, you know, they don't read their tweets, right? Celebrities talk about, I don't read my, you know, I might tweet, but I don't read what people are saying back to me because there's, as they call them, internet trolls, right?
Sure.
I'm Jeff Martin from Rexdale, you know what I mean? I'm no celebrity, you know what I'm saying? So when I came across them, I started reading them and I read them all.
Closed captions provided by
TV programs, convocations, conventions, graduations, YouTube commercials. Pinewood Films is a locally owned production company based in Toronto, and we're here to help you capture your event on video. It could be a Saturday or Sunday morning church service, a banquet, a business function, birthday party, even that special wedding day. Absolutely no project is too small or too large. We record and edit all of our footage professionally with high-quality HD and 4K cameras that can be used for TV broadcasting or just home viewing. The choice is all up to you. So, what are you waiting for? Call us right now at 647-933-8068, and there's no obligation. Let's talk about your ideas for your next event or project. The number is on the screen. We're waiting for your call.
Listen, guys, I want you to understand something. Each and every one of us has a story. Some of you right now, as you are listening, you are going through some of the biggest obstacles that you have ever faced in your life. You got to understand something. You are stronger than you think. You are more resilient than you think. You can get through this, and imagine on the other side of this how strong you're going to be because you're able to get through this obstacle. Your story, the obstacles that you faced, the tough times that you had to go through, you can use that to teach other people. We all know what celebrity looks like. We all know what success looks like. But what's important for people to understand is when you fell down, what did it take for you to finally stand back up, to be stronger, to be bolder? What lessons through your story can you teach other people? That's what's important. When someone falls down, how are they able to get back up? You might think that you don't have a story, but I'm telling you today, there's someone out there who can learn from what you've been through.
Welcome back to Let's Talk, and my guest today is Jeff Martin. He's a social activist. He's also a motivational speaker and doing great work in the black community.
Thank you.
But is Brothers from the Six exclusive to the black community?
I would say it's not. Okay. And when you look into some of our high priority neighborhoods in Toronto, it's not just black people that are there. Toronto is such a mix of cultures. You see everybody. You see everybody there. So I definitely not. We're there to help anybody who needs the help. If we are able to help in any way, then we do so. It's definitely not just primarily for one demographic.
Very good. So what has been some of the challenges that you have faced since you started the movement? I call it a movement.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
What are some of the challenges you have faced?
You know, I would say one of the biggest challenges that we faced, or I could say that I have faced, is realizing that not everybody is trying to agree with what you're doing. Not everybody agrees with what you're doing. Not everybody thinks that the method that you take is the way to go. And so on Sunday, May 29th, 2016, we had a photo shoot.
Yes.
And the photo shoot went extremely well. We asked for an all-call for Black males in Toronto to come together and wear a suit. And there was a couple of objectives that we had in regards to doing that. And so one of the objectives was to, again, as I mentioned earlier, debunk that stereotype, to let the world know that, you know, what we see in the news or social media doesn't reflect all Black men. And number two, I wanted the older Black men who were there, who could talk about the racism they faced when they came to Canada, to share those stories with the younger generation. There was kids that were toddlers that were there in the suits looking cute. And I wanted them, you know, an opportunity for these kids and teens to speak to these older men and just, you know, as a mentor type situation where they could see examples, live examples of what an upstanding Black man looks like. So, thank you. So, you know, that was a couple of the objectives that we had. Now, it was successful. We had one of the major news channels come out and cover it. The next day, social media covered it, and it went viral. I was getting contacts from people from Jamaica, people from the UK, Montreal, Vancouver, saying, hey, what are you guys doing in Toronto? Now, in terms of the negativity, there was a string of people who came out and had a lot of negative things to say about the event, about me personally, about the movement. And they just took a lot of jabs at what we were trying to do. And, you know, it's funny, you hear celebrities talk about, you know, they don't read their tweets, right? Celebrities talk about, I don't read my, you know, I might tweet, but I don't read what people are saying back to me because there's, as they call them, internet trolls, right? I'm Jeff Martin from Rexdale, you know what I mean? I'm no celebrity, you know what I'm saying? So when I came across them, I started reading them and I read them all. And I can be honest with you and tell you that a lot of them hurt. You know, some of the things that were personal, you know, the things that people were saying, people who I thought I knew, people who were acquaintances or so-called friends, right? They thought they could hide behind social media. And so that's what I learned in that circumstance, that not everybody's for you, but it was a really good lesson to learn because as they say, if you're doing something positive, if you're doing anything, there's always going to be people who don't agree with you, right? And I kind of use the analogy of a basketball player. A basketball player who's a star of the team, he's always on the court. People have something to say about him. They hate him or they love him, but there's always something to say about him. Why? Because he's involved. He's out there. He's putting himself out there. And so it was a harsh lesson that I learned that day, but it's something I've never forgotten. When you put yourself out there, there's always going to be people that love you and people that hate you.
How has your faith helped you during this process as you started Brothers from the Six?
It's been an amazing road, and God has been with me the entire time. You know, I believe that I would not be here if it wasn't for God's grace. The fact that I've taken a step out into an area that I'm not used to. You know, growing up, I was never the one to put my hand up and say I want to sing lead in choir. You know, I never wanted to read the scripture in church. I never wanted to put myself out there. And here I am, putting myself out there through motivational videos, through going to schools and talking to a number of kids in an auditorium. I've never been one to do that, but God has led me to where I am now, where I've learned that it's okay and it's important and I'm needed to be out there and to speak the way I've been speaking. So God has been with me the entire way, and He's opened my heart to so many different things in this process.
Very good. Now, we have to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk about race and ethnicity. You're a young Black man. You've been a police officer for 12 years.
Yes.
I want to pick up on that when we come back.
Absolutely.
Closed captions provided by...
Listen, guys, I want you to understand something. Each and every one of us has a story. Some of you right now, as you are listening, you are going through some of the biggest obstacles that you have ever faced in your life. You got to understand something. You are stronger than you think. You are more resilient than you think. You can get through this, and imagine on the other side of this how strong you're going to be because you're able to get through this obstacle. Your story, the obstacles that you faced, the tough times that you had to go through, you can use that to teach other people. We all know what celebrity looks like. We all know what success looks like. But what's important for people to understand is when you fell down, what did it take for you to finally stand back up, to be stronger, to be bolder? What lessons through your story can you teach other people? That's what's important. When someone falls down, how are they able to get back up? You might think that you don't have a story, but I'm telling you today, there's someone out there who can learn from what you've been through.
Your wedding day will be one of the most important days in your life, and we want to make sure that you never forget it. Hello and welcome to Runway Weddings. At Runway Weddings, creating is our passion, and we would love to capture your unique day so you can look back years from now and enjoy it all over again. We are proud of our team of photographers and cinematographers, all of whom have the expertise to create high-energy still and motion pictures that tell a story from beginning to end, based on the love story that has been created by the two of you. With our superior collection of cinematic 4K cameras, movie quality sound, and visual equipment, we are ready to capture your wedding day from every angle to create an artistic blend of photographic, cinematic, and documentary style film that reflects the intimacy of your special day. For more information or to obtain a quote for your big day, call right now 647-933-8068 or go to the website www.runwayweddings.ca and we will schedule a free consultation. We take the time to get to know you so that we can create an experience of photography and cinematography that you will never forget. Call us now.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. My guest today is Jeff Martin. He's a motivational speaker. He's a social activist. And Jeff, it's been good having this conversation with you. Before we went to the break, I alluded to race and ethnicity. You're a young black man. You've been in the police force for about 12 years. Mm-hmm. What are some of the challenges that you yourself has faced as a young black man in the police force, and also when it comes to race and ethnicity?
You know, as you said, being a black man, I think as your journey goes on in life, you are going to come across certain things. Right. I have come across certain things before becoming an officer, mm-hmm. before becoming involved in the community the way I have been right. now, and even afterwards. And when it comes down to it, as tough as some of the situations have been, I think it really needs to add to who you are in terms of your resilience. Right. There's two ways to react to any situation. Mm-hmm. You know, you can throw your hands in the air and give up, you can fight, or you can turn around and say, what lessons have I learned from that? And how can I apply that to my life to make me better? Right. So even when it comes to racial issues mm-hmm. that I have faced, before becoming an officer right. and even as an right. officer, mm-hmm. It really comes down to how you handle it and how you apply what it is that you've been through. Right.
Now, I noticed that you do a lot of motivational speeches. You go to schools. I noticed you're challenging young people going back to school.
Absolutely.
How does principals, teachers react to what you're doing?
It's been fantastic.
Oh,
they have been so receptive, because I believe that principals and teachers, they see what's going on. Right. They see that there's a large number of children in their schools right. who are failing.
Okay.
They don't know how to rescue them, so to speak. Right. They don't know how to change their pathway. And so I believe many of them are looking for help. Okay. Just today, I got a call from another school that's interested in having me come out. And that's just kind of the way it's been this year. I've been getting a lot of different calls because, again, I think that teachers, a lot of times they get burnt out. Right. You know, they try, they really try, but they get burnt out. It's difficult to do that type of job day in, day out. And sometimes when they're not getting the help from the parents, or not getting the support from the parents, they don't know where else to turn. Right. And so it's been unreal, the love that I've been getting from these teachers and principals in wanting to have me attend these schools and speak to these kids, because it just gives these kids another opportunity to see another face. Right. Some of these kids are coming from circumstances where there's no father in the home. Right. Right. If there is a father in the home, they're not really getting the support that's needed, and for a number of different reasons. So me coming in as a younger, I like to think I'm younger, right. a younger black man coming in and giving them the examples of coming from very similar circumstances, right. but I was able to overcome those circumstances. It lets them kind of see that, okay, well, if he can do it, then so can I. Right. And that's the example that I want to give to all these kids in these schools.
Right. One of the things I've noticed, especially in the black community, is that some of our young men are growing up in homes, as you alluded to, without fathers. Then when they go to the school, most of the schools are female teachers. Then in church, if you're not careful, those teaching Sunday school are also female. How do you think that impact our young black men especially?
I think it's a huge impact. There's a stat, and I can't remember what it is now, but the stat that says that a number of males who are in jail grew up with no fathers. Wow. A large percentage of the males who are in jail grew up with no fathers. Right. And so it's a direct impact. When males, fathers are not in the lives of these kids, it makes a direct impact, a negative impact. And so, I'm one person, and I try to make myself available when I do go to these schools. Right. I let these kids know my social media. Hit me up. If you want to talk, hit me up. I make myself available. And some of these kids have. Wow. Some of these kids have. I've had a deep, in-depth conversation typing away, and that's it's not really me to be typing. I'd rather be on the phone or in person. But I've done this because some of these kids are definitely struggling in their circumstance. So not having that male influence in the home, it takes away from them understanding what their role is as a male. And so they're forced to use social media, music, TV, everything else to teach them what it is to be a man. Right. So it's definitely an impact out there, and I'm doing what I can to try to help as many people as I can.
Okay. More with Jeff Martin when we return.
Closed captions provided by...
Listen, guys, I want you to understand something. Each and every one of us has a story. Some of you right now, as you are listening, you are going through some of the biggest obstacles that you have ever faced in your life. You got to understand something. You are stronger than you think. You are more resilient than you think. You can get through this, and imagine on the other side of this how strong you're going to be because you're able to get through this obstacle. Your story, the obstacles that you faced, the tough times that you had to go through, you can use that to teach other people. We all know what celebrity looks like. We all know what success looks like. But what's important for people to understand is when you fell down, what did it take for you to finally stand back up, to be stronger, to be bolder? What lessons through your story can you teach other people? That's what's important. When someone falls down, how are they able to get back up? You might think that you don't have a story, but I'm telling you today, there's someone out there who can learn from what you've been through.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. My guest today is Jeff Martin. He's a motivational speaker. He's also a social activist, and he's the founder of a movement called Brothers from the Six, doing great work, not only the black community, but other communities. Jeff, what are some of your successes since you started this movement called Brothers from the Six?
Oh man, it's been fantastic. So going back to the photo shoot, as I mentioned, on the day of the photo shoot, there was a young man who was there, and he's probably about 6 or 7 years old. Right. And when we were there, he just kept staring at me. His mouth was open, and his eyes just kept staring at me. If I walked at one side of the room, he just followed. If I walked to the other side of the room, he followed with his eyes. And I was thinking, what is going on with this kid? Right. At the end of the event, his mother came to me and she said, Jeff, you got to understand something. My son is 7 years old, and in his life, he has never had a positive male role model. He has never seen a positive male role model. She said his father's not in his life. She said her father's not in her life. She said her brother's a drug dealer. Right. In his 7 years on this earth, he has never seen a positive male role model. And I was just taken back and just, knew at that moment that what I was doing was really making an impact, because if I can allow a child at that young age to see not just myself, but the people around who were there who could pour into this child, it took my breath away. It took the words out of my mouth. It was it was fantastic. So that was really one of the success stories I can say that's just been phenomenal.
I'm a pastor, I'm a minister, and I always ask this question of my guests, especially what you're doing. What role can the church play in helping to impact our communities the way you are? How can we partner with you? What could we do?
We are always looking to partner with any organization or church for that matter. And, there's a lot that I find that people kind of get caught up in their own life, and it happens. True. We're all busy. True, I got a wife and 2 kids at home. We get caught up in things. Right. But, for me, it's important to step out in the community and to get involved and to kind of remind other people that they should be doing the same, in my opinion. Right. And so we will always team up with any community organization. We will always team up with any church. Right. I think at one time churches seemed to be more involved in the community. Right. Things might have changed a little bit for whatever reason, but you know, we're always looking to team up with anybody. So absolutely, if you are a part of something that you believe would kind of benefit what we're trying to do, let's sit down, let's hash it out, and let's see how we can benefit the people who are struggling. Right.
So our viewers watching this program and they like what they hear about Brothers from the Six, how could they get involved, or can they be involved?
Absolutely. As I just mentioned, we're always looking to hook up with or team up with community groups who are out there who are already doing great things. Right. If you need extra people, whether it be volunteers, if you need assistance in terms of a little bit more exposure, we're able to kind of give that through social media as well. If you're just looking for someone just to help carry boxes, we can do that as well. Really? But yeah, absolutely. We're always looking for the next initiative, the next thing that we can do to help out. The holidays are coming again, and we're looking to see where we can get involved with helping communities as well. So yeah, if there's anybody out there who is interested in getting involved, any community groups who are looking to get involved, we are open. We're always open.
How has this changed your life?
Man, this has been so fantastic. 2017 has been unreal. In 2017, I have started a podcast called Motivating from the Six, where I'm looking to, just like everything else, just try to better mankind. I also have a children's book that's coming out that should be out this year. Yes.
Excellent.
It's actually called Brothers from the Six / Sisters from the Six.
Very good.
And the whole idea is to show jobs that people are doing in the city, that these kids at a younger age can read and start to be motivated at that early age. I'm working on that. I actually just signed a deal with another 9 other men. So 10 men altogether that we're going to be putting out a book. So we're all going to speak about our stories, our vulnerability, things that we've been through, and put that together. So this year has been fantastic. God has opened so many doors. And I was telling someone the other day that I'm scared to see what 2020 looks like, because the ride has just been so real. God has just been, you know, just again, he's just put such a hold on my heart and move in my life, and you know, I'm just willing just to open up and just see where God leads.
Well, it's been great. How can our viewers get a hold of you, whether from motivational speaking or just to be part of Brothers from the Six? How can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So jeffadmartin.com. So Jeff AD, the letters, admartin.com is my website. I'm on Instagram, Jeff AD Martin. I'm on Facebook, Jeff AD Martin. And then Brothers from the Six. So BROTHAS, brothersfromthe6.com. And those are all the places you can hit me up. I do motivational videos once a week on Instagram and Facebook. Again, just kind of giving people a bit of a pick-me-up. And again, I do weekly podcasts as well. So everything I do, I'm just trying to assist people in standing up in their circumstances. So that's where you can find me.
Well, Jeff, it's been a pleasure. And my prayer is with you,
be here,
that you'll continue to impact the communities that God placed you in and those who are working with you. Thanks so much for being in Let's Talk.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Well, that's all the time we have for Let's Talk today. Thank you for joining us. Let's keep talking. We'll see you soon.